Good morning. Well, it's the start of another new week. More stuff to do. I didn't get anything done really much on the weekend. It was this kind of weather, or it was kind of with rain for like 10 minutes and stop and start. So I really couldn't paint. So I just decided, hey, take a weekend off, rest up, and get ready for this week. We're not getting good weather till around Wednesday. So what I'm going to do is switch back from doing, once again, pivoting around and, working with what I've got. I'm going to switch back to doing filling in dirt. I've got the connections for the flow meter sorted. I did that off camera. I basically got some adapter, continued to jerry rig and got an adapter that actually fit. So I'll try to explain that later. But yeah, so I'm going to work on that. Finishing up the connections for the grey water system, and then filling in the big hole that's by the greenhouse and by the poor old cypress tree. So I'm going to fill those in today, remove some dirt from the garden that wasn't very good that I put down, and kind of continue to get things ready for the garden. Because I think on Thursday and Friday, we're going to go, my wife is back for Easter, and we're going to go and we're going to do picking up loads of topsoil. We found that it's the cheapest alternative. We were going to get compost and gypsum, and we're going to work on getting the soil better. But we're probably going to do that in following years. I think for right now, we're just going to get a centimeter or two on the beds and a bit on the garden where we're going to plant grass seed just on top because it's quick and it's quite cheap. So we're going to do that for this year, and then every other year we'll just keep adding and try to make the soil a little better each year. So that's the plan for this week, is to continue on the garden beds. I've got a welding welder, and I've got a proper shirt, and I got a mask and gloves and stuff coming. So what I'm going to do is take a bit of metal and try to learn it myself, just a bit of what do you call it, like an angle iron or whatever, an old one, and just see if I can do some stick welding on it. Never done it before, but let's see if I can do it. Why not? And then later in the week, I'm going to have a friend come over who's actually done a lot of welding, like on the railroad and stuff, and he's going to help, kind of teach me a little more about it. But I thought I'd just play with it a bit first. Because we've got to weld together this arbor. So possibly next week, realistically, but we'll see. The biggest goal is I want to get everything ready to get this garden done. So let's get on to that. Well, okay. It's been a couple days since I did the intro to this video. And my whole goal at that point was I was going to fill this in and put the covers on everything and fill it in with dirt and continue on like that. Well, we've had literally 20 minutes after I filmed that, it started pouring and it hasn't stopped really raining for the last 2 or 3 days. So, didn't get much done. I tore some pallets apart inside and cleaned up the garage a bit and did a lot kind of stuff. But anyways, so what I'm going to do is not put the covers on right now, and I'm going to talk you through how I have things working. So this here is a drain. This basically was meant to be a clean out in case the drain in the greenhouse ever plugs up. It's just there. It'll be under the box as well. This is the main feed from the street that comes in. There's a valve here that basically opens by control if I want it. Or a system on my phone is I can basically Wi-Fi and have that open. So that will allow the water from the street to come into the sprinkling system and then go wherever I want. And all these are valves here that's basically for the different zones. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here, and I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I have 11 here, and I think I have another, 4 or 5 at the other end? I can't remember exactly how many, but I have another whole box that's over, that was near the post that I filled in a week ago. So I've also installed the flow meter. I figured out what to do with this. So basically one side of this flow meter is a compression fitting in here. One side of this is metric, and the other side is imperial, which is American, right? Or British or whatever it is. The whole idea was I used a part from one connector and a part from the other, and I've sandwiched them together. And they're pretty good. There's a little bit of wetness, but I'm not sure. I think it's actually the tape that goes around this here that's an issue. But otherwise, it's pretty good. I'm going to cover it up and then just see how it goes. It's been so rainy, I'm not sure what's wet and what's not. I've installed the flow meter here. So this thing will give me in gallons. This says 23 gallons I've used just in testing it the last few days. And then what I can do with these valves, for example, this one over here, irrigation from town water, and that's on currently. I can turn it off, and you'll see that the handle slides and closes the valve off. So now the water, there's no water coming in anywhere, and if I wanted to take it from the gray water, which is in the garage, and the pump that's going to be on that, I can turn that on. So I go irrigation from gray water. You turn that on, and you'll see this one will move. And so now, if the pump were on, the water, any of the controlling of the irrigation system that I do for all these other valves will basically take the water from the gray water instead of taking it from the mains water. And whichever way it is, it will still calculate how much water I'm using. So I can decide, I've just got to look and see what it doesn't obviously designate what's different. But yeah, so I can turn off the irrigation gray water and put the irrigation from town water back on, which is how I'm going to have it for right now. I'll fix that later. But anyways, the whole idea is all of this piping, all of these things are just to get me the ability to be able to select from either in the garage or out from the street, that water in there. Works pretty well so far. I just got, problem is some of this stuff is sitting a bit cockeyed. This bends up a bit, everything hits fine. So when I put the box around it and I get it more stable, I'll fix it then. But so far, not a lot of leaks. This water under here actually isn't from leaking from what I can see. It's just because it's so wet and it's clay in the ground here, so it's not draining out well. But yeah, so the next step up is to put the bins on top, and then to put gravel on the bottom so it can always drain out, and then fill it with dirt, what's left. And I'll be filling all the way along the greenhouse that way, and this trench that's under here. I've also got a connection on this one, which is going to be for the irrigation system for all the plants. And I'm just going to do irrigation pipes like that, thin ones, that are feeder pipes that are just going to be on the surface. And then I basically would take thin rubber hose for drippers. And those drippers or irrigation or heads will basically drip. I'll have them all the perennials or all the plants I want, and lots of little drippers shooting out everywhere, and that should water it all. Anyways, that's the plan. And this here will get eventually covered by some kind of conduit thing, kind of like a plastic, kind of like a C-shaped thing that will go like this on the wall, and it will hide all this. They're all low voltage, these ones. These ones are the high voltage ones. I'll be putting marking mesh down there, which is the red mesh stuff on the two sides. I mean, it's probably going to be me in here, but I'm also making a big plan for the next owner so they know where all the wires are and everything like that. So. But anyways, yeah, I will eventually be doing the repointing all this. So I'll basically dig out very carefully just towards the edge of all this. It's not this year. It's probably not going to be next summer or probably the summer after, but we'll see. And so there's no point leaving this big pit open at this point because the greenhouse is going to be a whole summer on its own just to get it working. Anyways, that's the plan. That's what I've done. It all works well. I've got another set of valves inside to select either the gray water goes to the pump or the gray water goes to the well. I've got that automated as well that I can turn those on and off. And yeah, so far the plan worked. A little bit of difficulty getting the water meter to work, but that's working quite well now. I think I just need a little more Teflon tape on one of the ends. Even then it's not wet, so I don't know. I'm gonna give it a few days, let it dry out. Hopefully it's all good. I don't see any major leaks anyways. And let's get filling this in with dirt. well, that's going to do it for this vid. This is the first time in about 2.5 years I've been able to stand here. It's a pretty big deal. Pretty happy. Poor little cypress. So hopefully he'll pick up soon and start, getting big and over the height of this. It's supposed to do. But yeah, I've got rid of all the stumps. I've got the ground ready. I'm going to smooth it out a little bit, but I'll do that later. And we're ready for some dirt. So what we're going to do, my wife, lovely wife, found an amazing deal. Bit of a drive, but not too bad. But she can go somewhere that has vegetable tear, which is basically garden vegetable soil with a bit of compost in it, a bit of, good stuff in it, and fertilizer. And it's $15 a trailer. So she's going to take her day off tomorrow and basically drive back and forth, getting them to dump scoops from a digger thing into the trailer and come back and forth. So tomorrow, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put about 1 centimeter of dirt over everything. I think in following years we're going to supplement the garden beds with gypsum and compost and manure and stuff like that. But for right now, for that price, to spend a day or two to get maybe 3 tons, maybe 6-7 trips back and forth, it's really worth it. So we're pretty excited. That gets us that much closer to doing the planting, putting a lot of perennials in. The garden bed's going to kind of be over here and wrapping around. It's hard to tell right now. It's just all dirt. But come mid-April, maybe mid to late April, I think I can plant grass seed. We'll have to figure out when the soil temperature is about 70 degrees. We're definitely getting more frost or something like that, and then I can start putting seed down. And that'll make a big difference. We're doing Bermuda grass, which is pretty much, there are other things that will survive here, but it's the one thing that loves sun. As long as you fertilize it well, it just takes over and spreads like crazy. So I'm having more of a problem managing it than I am for taking over. That's what's basically over there on that side. But anyways, I've got these 2 sections finally done. I've also got rid of all the stumps, which is fantastic. I thought it was going to be a really big deal because stumps are never fun, but they came out pretty quickly, so that's great. All I have left to do garden-wise is get rid of a bit of dirt in some of the sides over there. We're a bit too high, so I'm going to get rid of that. So we have about 2 more loads of dirt removal after we get the dirt in, which again, dirt, that's all I seem to do. But then I'm back onto painting. So hopefully this weekend, we're going to get the paint for the greenhouse, or the gazebo and the arbor. We're delayed. We went and bought, it's actually my fault, I sent the wrong link, but we bought wood paint instead, bois versus fir or fer. So that's the 2 French words, and I just didn't even notice it. So my wife ordered it, came, and it was the wrong stuff. So she's going to return it and then buy the proper stuff. So anyways, it'll match the green on the posts, and that's what we're going to do most of this, including the greenhouse. So anyways, really appreciate everyone watching you. I'm finally over 500, which is amazing. Thank you so much for subscribing. I didn't expect anyone to watch this. I thought 100 was really cool. Now 500, that's amazing. So I just want to really say how much I appreciate it. You following me, liking me. It's very motivating to keep making these videos. So thanks a lot. And I hope you have a good week. Cheers.